Hello students, today we are going to discuss about prism, and in prism what we are going to discuss about the Snell's law involved in prism. There are two refractions happening, so what are the equations of those two equations? Also, what are the geometrical equations which we get in prism, and how can we solve numericals based on the questions of prism? And also at the end we are going to discuss about thin prisms also. Okay, so here how the refraction starts in prism. So if I consider this to be a prism, let me call this prism is having three sides. Generally we draw in a triangular form, so let me name them as BCD. And this angle is called A. We call this as angle of prism. I will come to that angle of prism in a short while. So if I consider that this is my incident ray, if I draw a normal over here, the light bends towards the normal because the ray is traveling from rarer to denser. So it bends towards the normal. Instead of going like this, it bends towards the normal, and let me call this angle as R1. And this angle as I1, where I1 is the incident angle and R1 is the refracted angle. As the ray travels forward, it strikes the surface of BD. So we are again moving forward for the second refraction now. So we will draw a normal over here, which is perpendicular to the surface. And now instead of going like this, it will bend away from the normal because it is going again back to the rarer medium. So it will bend away from the normal like this. Let us call this incident angle as R2 and this as the refracted angle or the final emergent angle as I2. The Snell's law which is involved here is for the first surface, if I have to write the Snell's law, is mu r sine I1 equals to mu d sine R1. Mu r sine I1 equals to mu d sine R1. For the second surface, this is my incident angle and this is my refracted angle. So mu d sine R2 equals to mu r sine I2. These are the two equations which we obtain by using Snell's law over here. What are the other equations involved in prism? To get that, let us extrapolate this and join these two normal lines. One from this surface, other from this surface, and let me call this angle as X. Let us name this as E over here and F over here, and we will focus in quadrilateral. We will focus in quadrilateral BE. Okay, I have to name this also G. B, E, G, F. So in quadrilateral B, E, G, F, the sum of all the angle must be equal to 360. Now what are the sum of all the angles? So two angles, one is A, other is X. So we will write here as A plus X plus. Now what is the angle in the quadrilateral at point E? So that angle is 90. Why it is 90? Because I am drawing a normal. Same thing at F also, because this is also a normal. So this angle will be also 90. So I will write here as 90 plus 90. So what will I get? A plus X equals to 90 plus 90, 180 goes on that side. So it becomes 180. Now we are going to focus in triangle. In triangle EGF. EGF. What will I get? I will get R1 plus X plus R2. R1 plus X plus R2 equals to 180 degree. Right hand side is 180, 180. So on comparing, what will I get? I will get A plus X equals to R1 plus R2 plus X. X goes out. So I will get R1 plus R2 equals to A. This is a very important equation which is equal to R1 plus R2 equals to A, and I prefer to write it over here, R1 plus R2 equals to A. Now we are going to derive the angle of deviation. Okay, so we have got three equations over here, two Snell's law and one a geometrical equation, R plus and R2 equals to A, and now let us try to derive the angle of deviation. I suggest please take a note here, pause the video and take a note over here. In order to find the angle of deviation, let us first try to understand what is deviation. So this was the ray and it was traveling along this line, but because of two refraction it bends. So let me extrapolate this line. So this was the expected path the ray would have traveled, and finally it has come out in this direction. So let me extrapolate this backward. This angle is what I refer as angle of deviation. Okay. So the angle between the emergent ray and the first incident ray is the angle of deviation. In order to find deviation, we have to find this angle and this angle. And we will apply exterior angle theorem, which says this plus this equals to del. And how we are going to do that? So for that, I'll just rub this part and I will redraw the diagram so that it becomes clear to you. Just follow this steps. Now if this angle is I1, this angle will be also I1, and that this is R1. So this angle will be equal to I1 minus R1. Correct? This angle. So if this is I1, this will be also I1, and I am calling this one as R1, so this becomes I1 minus R1. Similarly, you can prove this also as I2 minus R2. So I am calling this angle as I2 minus R2, and I am calling this angle as I1 minus R1. If I apply the exterior angle theorem, I can say that del is equal to I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2 in this triangle. Del equals to this plus this, and this will give me I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. And what is R1 plus R2? A. So this is my deviation formula, I1 plus I2 minus A. Okay. So we have four formulas over here. Del equals to I1 plus I2 minus A. Please take a note of this. Moving ahead. How do we solve numericals based on prism? And that's very simple, provided we follow certain steps. For example, consider that this is a given prism, where this is my angle of prism, and this is your I1, this is R1, this is R2, and this is I2. Now out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, R1 and R2 will never be given to you in the question. R1 and R2 will never be ever given to you in the question. Out of I1 and I2, one will be given, other will not be given, and A will be given to you in the question in the form of some hint or some directly in the sense right away given 30 degree, or some hint will be given to you. Prism is equilateral. Equilateral means A will become 60. Say that I1 is given to you, let us say 30 degree, and I want to know what should be my emergent angle. These are the four equations, and remember, this is always the second step. This step is always the second step. Always the second step. This and this, out of this you have to justify which one to take first by reading the question. In this question, I1 is given to you. So your first step is the one which is given to you. So let us say I1 is given to you, mu r mu t will be given to you. If I1 is given to you, you will use this equation first and you will find the value of R1. Clear? Once you get the value of R1, come to the second step. Put R1 here. A will be given to you. Find the value of R2. Second step done. Once you have got the value of R2, you will put R2 over here and you will find the value of I2. Okay? And if they are asking deviation separately, we can find deviation also. In some cases, this will be given to you. This won't be given to you, and this is given to you. Say that I2 is 30 degree now. So if I2 is 30, now I2 is given. So you have to go to the third equation now, since I2 is given. So if this is given, find the value of R2. Put it back in the second step. Get the value of R1. Once you get the value of R1, put it here as R1, and then you find the value of I1. So basically, prism questions are played with these three equations only. Which one to use first? Look for the data. If I1 is given to you, use the Snell's law of the first reflection and go in the stepwise manner, find the I2. And if I2 is given to you, use the Snell's law of second reflection and go backward and find the value of I1. Okay? Next thing which we have to discuss is thin prism. Thin prisms are those prisms whose A is very small. Angle of prism is very small. So if A is very small, obviously R1 plus R2 added together must be very small. That means R1 is also small, R2 is also small. See, let us say if A is 10 degree, that means R1 and R2 individually must be also less than 10 degree. So that means R1 is also small, R1 and R2 is very small. This implies if your R1 is small, definitely your I1 has to be small. So if you go backward, I1 and I2 is also very small. And for small angle we know, for small angle we know that sin I or sin theta, let me write, sin theta can be approximately written as theta. In that case, look at my first Snell's law. My first Snell's law says mu r I1 will be equal to mu d R1, and the second Snell's law will give you mu d R2 will be equal to mu r I2. Okay? Our ultimate destination is to find the value of deviation for thin prism, and in that I have I1 and I2. So let us try to find what is I1 from this equation. This implies I1 will be equal to mu d R1 divided by mu r, and this implies I2 is equal to mu d R2 divided by mu r. Okay, now put that in the value of deviation. So deviation will be equal to I1 plus I2. What is I1? I1 is mu d R1 by mu r plus I2. I2 is mu d R2 by mu r minus A. And if I take mu d by mu r common, if I take mu d by mu r common, I will get this one as r1 plus r2 minus a. This implies deviation will be equal to, now what is r1 plus r2? A. So I will get this one as mu d by mu r a minus a. Okay, and to be more precise, if you take a common, you will get deviation equals to, take a common, mu d by mu r minus 1. This is the formula for deviation for thin prism. Remember, this is for thin prism. And let us say if mu are supposed to be air, you can put 1 over here, so it's only mu d minus 1, that is the refractive index of tensor minus 1. And now we can have some questions over here on what factors deviation in thin prism depends on. So it depends on angle of refraction. Okay, more is the angle of prism, more is the deviation. It depends on tensor medium. If more is the refractive index, more will be the deviation of the prism. Those things we can derive from the formula. So we will be discussing in the class the concept of minimum deviation, and that will be discussed on PPT mode. Thank you for coming in. Please take a note here.